Good morning. It is Monday, June 7th, and welcome to the second week of your online judicial process, Political Science 358 Summer Session 2021, Summer Session 1. So each week on Sunday or Monday, sometime towards the beginning of the week, I'd like to, for the remainder of the course, make a set of semi-formal announcements. And this is just more about keeping us on the same page and checking in with you. So this is our first one. Okay, so I'm going to talk about four things. I have some miscellaneous shout outs, just things I've noticed that you're doing that are cool and wonderful. I'm going to talk about something that starts the second week, which is making entries in your reflective learning journal. I'm going to talk about the things that you need to do this week. And then I'm going to review how the D2L course for the D2L page for this course is organized. Most of you have probably already figured this out, but in case there's something you missed or something you were confused by, we can take a look at that. So for the miscellaneous shout outs, I enjoyed those of you who participated in the Introduce Yourself journal. And this is just, or discussion, this is just about us trying to forge a stronger connection. We would be making some personal connections in a traditional, either an online or in-person format, or even if we had a synchronized component like a Zoom talk where we got together at the same time. It's a little bit harder in a purely asynchronous format, but it can be done. And so it's been interesting to get to know you a little bit. And I appreciated your comments about all the words for snow. That was really interesting. Lochner, I liked your stories about watching people at the airport. It is interesting to watch people. Elizabeth, I thought that was a great insight about how this course will give you an opportunity to look at how political science looks at the courts and the judicial process compared with your own major, criminology, and how it looks at it. And different disciplines do cover the same topic in a little bit different way. So in political science, I think I'll be interested to hear what your insights are. From my perspective, I think it's that political science delves a little bit more deeply in terms of some of the relationships between institutions of government. There are things that we don't delve as much into, like why people commit crime and all that. That's the realm of criminology, but we're looking at more at institutions and how they are related or should be related or shouldn't be related and whatnot. And then one more shout out, it's related to something that we're going to talk about next, which is the Reflective Learning Journal. And you are the first one to do it, and you were amazing. You did it beautifully, but you actually did more than you had to do. And my assistant is here. This is Gus. Gus, show them your pretty green eyes. And he says, no, absolutely not. There we go. Okay. I have cat hair on my lips. Life back with a cat. Okay. So let's talk about the Reflective Learning Journal. And Gus, what did you do? Okay. So this is about, sorry, Gus messed me up. This is about being self-conscious about our learning. What research is continuing to show us is that when we think about our learning process and are self-conscious about it, we remember the content better, we learn it more deeply, and it seems to have all these kind of almost magical effects. And so what we mean by being self-conscious about our learning is taking a moment to think about our learning style or what we've learned and to write about it. Now, I've got deeper guidelines on the actual D2L website. We're going to go look at that in a moment. But I know that in the courses, I've taken 5 courses this past year since the pandemic to try to both in pedagogical courses and thinking about my teaching philosophy, but also specifically getting better at the online teaching. And they've all had this component. And I kind of resented it at first. I thought, oh, please. But it works. Thinking about my learning process has really had a profound effect on my own learning and understanding of the material and my memory of what I've been learning. So these are some prompts, and they're also written in the actual place where you'll write in your journal. These are just some prompts. I'm not going to go through them all now. You can read them later. Even if you have something else that doesn't fit neatly into one of these questions, that's just you thinking about your learning process, once a week you write 3 or 4 sentences. Anne wrote more than that for each one of these. You're amazing, and you don't have to work that hard. I mean, I enjoyed it and I think it's fabulous. And if you have the time, go for it. But you really just only need to write 3 to 4 sentences about any one of these questions or about some other prompt that is you learning about your learning process. Okay, we'll go into this in a little bit more depth in a minute, and I'll show you how you can always keep track online. But this week, you'll participate in 2 discussions. You'll finish participating in the introduce yourself discussion, and then we'll get involved in our first substantive discussion this week. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. And you're going to prepare for and take the first exam. By prepare for, I mean use the reading schedule, and I'll show you where that is in a minute, and use the study guide and your textbook to prepare for. And then the exam will be open this week from Wednesday to Saturday. I'm still writing it. I probably have about, I don't know, 25 to 35 multiple choice questions, and you get to take it twice. Keep in mind that it's going to average the 2 scores. So you don't want to just go in and totally bomb it the first time, because that'll bring your score down. But I want to give you an opportunity to do better. Sometimes when, especially in the beginning, when you're taking answering questions from a new instructor, you know, the way that I analyze things and look at the world is a little bit different. My language is a little bit different. And sometimes there's an adjustment period. Hopefully giving you that second attempt to take the exam will help. Okay. And then finally, I wanted to talk about the organization of the webpage. I'm going to do it first on this PowerPoint, just to kind of philosophically talk about how I've designed it, and then we'll go to the actual page and look at. So of course, almost everything that you need happens when you click the content tab, but also you can always access discussions by going to communication. And when you hit that, you get a drop down and discussions. And there's all the discussions, including the introduce yourself discussion, the 3 substantive discussions we'll have, although only the first one's available now. And then the private learning journal is also located there. It's the way do 2L sets up a learning journal. You set it up as a discussion with a group of 1. I should be the only person who can read your journal entry. If you happen to see somebody else's journal entry, write to me as soon as possible. It means I've made a mistake, and I'll fix it. But I think I did it right this time. So then once we get to that contents, the important stuff, that's the syllabus, the big picture course calendar, the reading schedule, which includes chapter numbers and topics for each test. And then each week as we go on, I'll put a more granular schedule of what needs to be done. I put the exams and stuff to prepare for exams in one module with 2 submodules. So there's study guides in one of the submodules, exams in the other. And I don't have the exam posted yet. I'll be done posting that tomorrow. I'll be ready for you by Wednesday. And then assignment guidelines. And there's 2 submodules, one about the oral argument essay guidelines and one about the court observation guidelines. And then I've added another one, a link to get to that private journal. So if you don't want to click on communications and discussions. You can go straight to the private journal, learning journal. Okay, so let's go look at the actual D2L page here to look at. So the important stuff with the syllabus, you're going to read over that once and maybe refer to it a couple of times. But the two really important documents are the course calendar. This is the big picture. It doesn't, one thing it doesn't provide, in order to keep it clean and you can look at it at a glance, the thing it doesn't provide is the staggered nature of the way you should be participating in the online discussions. As you know, you'll post at least 3 times to each discussion. Each of the substantive discussions will require you to either read something from your textbook or something from an outside source that I provide a link. And then you come back and you think about it and you make your original post, and then that comes early on. So for example, with this first one, I've said, I'd like you to make your first posting by today, Monday, and then post again on Wednesday, and then post again by Saturday. Those other 2 postings are shorter. You're just responding to what somebody said or commenting about what somebody said. You do that twice so that we can learn from each other's insights and observations. So I don't include those, but I do in the weekly breakdown because I wanted to keep this a little cleaner. The other thing that you'll refer to a lot is this reading schedule, because for each of the exams, it says what topics and what chapters to read. And of course, you will use your study guide to help you prepare. Okay, so, well, let's look at week 2. So what these hyperlinks here are, you can jump directly to that thing. So remember, you can get to the discussions in a couple of ways. This will be a list of all the discussions, but so the introduce yourself discussion will be over at the end of this week, and then we'll only be dealing with one discussion at a time. So the other way to get to those, so I'd like you this week, you were theoretically supposed to make your first introduce yourself posting, I think it was Friday or Saturday. If you missed that, that's fine. And in fact, let's say, you make your posting on Tuesday or Wednesday, your first one. That's, I mean, try to make those deadlines, but I understand life is complicated. What I don't want to see happen is that you wait till when the discussion closes on Saturday and you log in at 10 p.m. and you make all 3 of your postings that day. That's what I don't want to see. If you or your second posting, you don't make till Friday or something, that's fine. Just these are suggestions to make it a better, more thoughtful discussion and give us more time to read each other's comments and learn from each other. And I know from the classes I've been taking, I do learn from the comments of my fellow students. Okay, so the way I organized this, the things related to discussions, and then talk about the private learning journal and the exams. So you could get to your private journaling journal exactly like this. And then you would start a new thread and respond to one of these prompts. I don't know why there's not a back arrow for that one. Or, you can get to the introduce yourself discussion by those, and there's Malachi, by those internal links that I've provided. Okay, so let's go back to week 2. So you're finishing off the introduce yourself discussion. You're getting involved in our first substantive discussion. You're making 3 to 4 sentences entry sometime, any day this week in your learning journal. And you'll do that once each week after this. And you're preparing for, with the study guide, you'll be able to answer those questions and then take the exam. don't know why the background isn't working. You'll be taking the exam any day between Wednesday and Saturday. You can take it up to 2 times, and then you can start thinking about working on one of the 2 written assignments, the Supreme Court oral argument essay. There are the guidelines. So anyway, this is a work in progress, but again, if you missed the deadline for a test, write me, let me know. I can open it up for you to go in and take your exam. The deadlines are just so that we pace ourselves and don't try to do it all in a couple of days, in which case there's no learning happening. And I suspect this video is too long, which is one of the things they told us not to do, but we're getting better and we had a lot of material to cover. So please, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email, and I look forward to hearing from you. Hi again. I forgot one thing that I wanted to show you about another way to look at what's due this week. And I know this video was already too long. So, you know, you can go to week 2 and see it broken down by the type of project that you should be working on. But for those of you who'd rather just see each day of the week, I also did it that way. And then I tried to color code it. So discussion 1, I made purple, the introduce yourself, or discussion 1, I made green, the introduce yourself purple, the exams are red. And these are, again, hyperlinks, so you can jump directly to that. Okay, enough of me. See ya.